Hello everyone, and welcome back to Ace Attorney Investigations 2. Previously, Miles, while imprisoned, was able to glean a lot of information out of Blaise the Best, who, for some godforsaken reason, just decided to spill a whole bunch of beans instead of, walking away. Yeah, he all but admitted that Kay Faraday was framed, and that he knows it. And in all likelihood, he's the one who did it. And he also made a vague threat at Miles's life, so things are a bit interesting. Anyway, now Miles is in front of the PIC Council, fully assembled, minus Jill Crane, of course, the victim, and Miles is making his last stand, so let's continue here.
Miss Crane went to the black market auction as a customer.
So you're saying that a member of the PIC was involved in illicit dealings?
Regarding that, I have no response.
He's right, After this hearing is over, we're going to have to clean up our act. Are you? Are you really?
A splendid decision, Mr. Chairman.
No, it is only natural, you see. There's no need to flatter me, But, that has nothing to do with you at all, Edgeworth. Because by then, you won't even be a prosecutor anymore, you see? Well, now that this tearful business has been cleared up...
Yes, sir, I will continue. The red raincoat was one of the items up for auction.
So the red raincoat was also up for auction. Yes, Miles, that's exactly what she said.
Yes, it had belonged to Shelley the Killer.
Based on the circumstances, we must consider that it was an item up for auction, you see. That was what he wore when he targeted the president of Gen Fa. There was a mannequin that was positioned unnaturally amongst the auction goods. That may have been where the red raincoat had been on display. Well, maybe I'm just hung up on a weird, needless detail, but if the mannequin was to display Shelley's coat, why is it a female torso? I mean, there's no reason it couldn't be, or I don't know. It's just that in a game about contradictions and fine details, that's something I want to think about. Do you know how the goods were procured?
We're currently investigating it, but it's none of your concern, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Soon you'll be nothing more than an ordinary individual, and then you will be finished.
It seems the results of this deliberation have already been decided. Enough about me. Please continue your testimony.
Since the raincoat had been up for auction, we believe that she left her seat after winning the bid for it.
Why would the victim immediately leave her seat?
That had to do with how the auction was conducted. It seems that after the winning bid, the winner was required to pay for the item immediately.
That matches up with Miss Hart's testimony.
We believe that Miss Crane paid her bid for the raincoat, and then immediately tried to leave the auction. The only exit from the storeroom is the hatch that leads to the viewing platform.
The victim was a PIC member. Couldn't she have also just left from the meeting room?
If she had done so during the auction, then its existence would have been revealed to the public.
Since Miss Hart knew about it, it seems the cat is already out of the bag.
The customers were required to enter and exit from the hatch. Miss Crane was simply following protocol. Considering where the murder took place, she must have tried to leave through there. Miss Crane went out to the viewing platform, where she was attacked by Kay Faraday.
Why would Kay do such a thing?
We intend to question her about that later.
Later? That seems to be your favorite time for interrogations.
If the culprit was aware that the customers were required to exit from the hatch, it would have been easy to lie in wait for an ambush. Miss Crane was attacked when she was leaving the hatch. That was how she met her end, and that concludes my summary of the case.
Met her end? What do you mean by that?
She passed away, or to be more precise, she was murdered.
The candelabra was one of the items in the auction. Therefore, Kay should not have been able to get our hands on it. Oh shoot, that was my big idea for contradictions here. Uh-oh.
If she was able to lie in wait for the attack, then she must have known about the storeroom. If she sneaked into the storeroom during the auction, she could have obtained it.
Now, if we only had some way to know for sure where the candelabra was during the entire auction, you know, how about it? There is no such evidence.
My apologies. We hope to find that evidence soon.
Edgeworth, it's too bad, you know. It seems you won't be able to use this line of attack. The victim encountered the culprit on top of the roof, and the crime occurred there. According to her reasoning, the murder took place at the viewing platform. But was that really the case? Some piece of evidence must tell the whole story behind it. Should try looking again. Oh, right, duh. If the murder really occurred on the platform, explain the blood that dripped down from the elevator. Hello? Went out to the viewing platform where she was attacked by Kay Faraday. Yeah, no, the dripping murder. Dripping blood, rather. Yeah, here. Wait, what? Judge Courtney, there is a contradiction in your testimony.
I cannot authorize this statement.
And why not?
Because it's obvious you're bluffing.
Yeah. Is that the impression I give off? Next time for sure, I will present evidence that will silence her for good.
Huh?
Last testimony. Held in the ground tower, items up for auction, pieces of evidence. After Jill Crane's murder. Maybe we point out that Kay wouldn't do it because they were accomplices and they had letter correspondence, but no. Do we point out that how the time Kay entered the tower doesn't match up? Or no, that must come later. You know, maybe I did it too early. Miss Crane went out to the viewing platform where she was attacked by Kay. But this says that she met her end. That was how she met her end. Maybe we do it there. Okay, no. Judge Courtney, could you take a look at this piece of evidence?
I'm afraid I cannot accept that piece of evidence. I do not believe it has any relation to my testimony.
Okay, interesting. As I expected, she's nothing like Sebastian. However, I won't back down so easily. Okay, we got a way more specific response on this one, so I feel like this is the one I do. On the exit. I mean, that's not true. There's the elevator down and the door outside in the PIC room. But the pressing just countered that completely, so... We believe that she left her seat after winning the bid. That's probably true. Red raincoat, no proof against that. Proof against that. I feel like this is it, so... I was about to say, maybe we show this photo to say, like, hey, there's a photo of this person standing near the ladder, but there's no proof they went outside, but we know that there was blood found on the ladder matching the hand that was bloody. So what gives? Do we say that Kay also stole a mask, or no? If Courtney's saying that Kay stole a candelabra, then obviously she can say that Kay stole a mask too. This is tricky. Maybe I'm just being really stupid, but... You know, I just can't figure this one out, so... I don't want to hold up the video too much longer, so time to look up a guide, I guess. Oh, son of a... I was actually right. On this, we present the photo. So why? How do I reverse engineer this logic? This is the solution, but why? Is it about the blood? Like asking where the blood came from if she was only attacked after emerging? Huh. Judge Courtney, I have found it to be strange for a while now. Why is Miss Hart here with us?
She is an eyewitness to this case. Isn't it only natural for her to be in attendance? Aw, shucks. I reckon I'm more of an ear witness than an eyewitness.
It seems that gaining the trust of others isn't your strong point, Judge Courtney.
Perhaps I simply do not wish to be as tactless as you.
It appears you have failed to get the witness to tell you the most vital information. Please look at this photo. This was taken by Miss Hart.
This photo seems to have been taken in the storeroom. And what of it?
According to your reasoning, the incident took place on the viewing platform. However, Miss Hart encountered the incident in the storeroom. That's right, it had taken place just before this photo was taken. Wait, if that's true, then Justine's reasoning... Exactly, it does not hold up. What? Miss Hart, allow me to ask you again. You saw the person in the photo with your own eyes, correct?
I sure did. I seen him plain as day with my own two eyes.
And what did you think at the time?
I figured I was about to get me a big scoop, you know?
I guess that makes sense. Ahem. That's not what I meant. What did you think of that person?
Huh? Well, I reckon she helped me bring me home the bacon.
Are you mocking me?
Oh, shucks, don't make that scary old face. It was just a harmless little joke. The person in the red raincoat, I reckon they were the culprit.
I hope you understand now. The crime occurred in the...
Prosecutor Edgeworth, I cannot understand your argument if you do not say it out loud. If you had simply asked, I would have been more than willing to explain.
Explain what?
The sounds Miss Hart heard may not necessarily be related to the case.
That is impossible. Enough of your excuses.
Was the voice that Miss Hart heard really that of Miss Crane? Such a shady conversation must have had something to do with the case. What did her voice sound like? Her voice? Well, beats me. How was I supposed to know? They were both using voice changers. Yes, the voices Miss Hart heard had been altered by a device. We must therefore question whether or not they have any bearing on this case. You need not object just because you wish to sigh.
Judge Courtney, it seems I have greatly overestimated you. No, Courtney is quite amazing, you see. You claim that the sounds Miss Hart heard have no bearing on this case. Even if they do not, it doesn't change the fact that the crime took place in the storeroom. At the very least, the crime must have occurred before the victim went up to the rooftop. The reason being, this evidence proves the crime occurred before the victim went up to the viewing platform. It's gotta be the bloody hand. At first I thought the person in the red raincoat was the culprit.
Well, Miss Hart's testimony certainly made it sound that way.
Precisely. It was because she saw that the person's hand was covered in blood. Anyone who heard her testimony would have arrived at the same conclusion. The person in the red raincoat was the culprit, and the blood on their hand was the victim's. However, if the person in the red raincoat was the victim, then the situation changes completely. Since blood can be seen in this photo, it must have been taken after the crime occurred. It seems we've been under the wrong impression in regards to the victim's condition. This photo shows the true condition of the victim. The victim was still alive after the attack. The victim was definitely attacked in the storeroom. Immediately afterward, the victim was seen with blood on her hand. That must mean the victim was still alive even after she was attacked. The blood on her hand must have come from her own wound. No way! Are you saying that she died from a hand injury? No, that is not the case. I suspect she just held her hand against the wound. It can't be seen in the photo, but that at this moment she must have already suffered a fatal wound. Oh, if that's true, then it changes a lot of things, you know. It seems you understand. This refutes the allegations against Kay. Kay encountered the victim after this picture was taken. I believe at that point in time the victim was already on the verge of death. It's likely Kay just happened to be present when the victim reached the end of her strength.
That is quite the coincidence.
Indeed. I can only say that she was at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Prosecutor Edgeworth, it seems you have forgotten a crucial fact.
Ah, you mean that, right? He must be pretending that he hasn't noticed it yet, you see.
What did you say? Are you implying that I forgot something?
Courtney, I think it's about time you gave him his last rites.
Hey, Pops, Justine's with me, you know. Don't order her around like that.
You know, even though you're my son, you're so embarrassing.
How is he not dehydrated by now? I'm not embarrassing. I'm sorry, but you're both rather embarrassing. Justine, give Mr. Edgeworth his, Very well. I shall give him his last rites.
Oh.
Edgeworth's contradiction. When the body was found, there were 3 wounds in Miss Crane's chest. I'm sure you're well aware what kind of wounds these were, right? Yes, she was stabbed in the heart with a 3-pronged candelabra. Is there any person who could survive such an injury? Please take a close look at the autopsy report. Can you still say the same thing after reading it? How does... Oh, I wasn't even able to read that. How exactly does that contradict Edgeworth? I will offer a rebuttal, of course. Why would you do that? Didn't you hear what Justine just said? Of course I did, and I still plan to object to it. It's not fair. You're always opposing me at every turn. It was never my intention to oppose you. Huh? Really? It's simply not worth my time. I see. So that's how it is. Yup. After all, I'm...
That's enough, you know. You're embarrassing your father, you see.
Huh? What do you mean, Pops? That poor kid. That poor baby. Someone save him. When the body was found, there were 3 wounds in Miss Crane's chest. 3 wounds? That sounds rather painful. Indeed. We must punish the culprit accordingly. Kay, do not listen to what she says. Judge Courtney, please continue your reasoning. Very well. She had 3 wounds. I'm sure you're well aware what kind of wounds these were, right? Why don't you ask Sebastian instead? Of course, Sebastian knows all about it. Huh? Me? Yeah, I know everything. He's obviously lying.
Sebastian, maybe you should sneak a peek at the autopsy report, you know?
Let's see here. The fatal wound was caused by the candelabra. Oh, so that's how it was. Ahem. The cause of the wound was just as Sebastian said. Yes, she was stabbed in the heart with a 3-pronged candelabra. So the cause of death was a stab wound to the heart. Is that correct? Yes. Oh, that's not Sebastian. Yes, the candelabra pierced right into her heart. Since this was Dr. Yun's medical opinion, it must be the truth. The coroner's medical opinion follows my own opinion. Therefore, it's perfect. I certainly cannot ignore the autopsy reports. However... Hey, don't ignore my opinion. However, if the cause of death was a stab wound to the victim's chest, wouldn't it contradict that piece of evidence? Oh, he's totally ignoring me. Justine, say something. Yes, I will not allow you to ignore my reasoning. Is there any person who could survive such an injury? At the very least, we cannot be certain that she died instantly. Even if she still had a little bit of life left, I doubt she would have held on for long. Can people survive after being stabbed in the chest?
In some cases, maybe they can, although maybe they can't.
So in the end, which one is it? No such human exists. If you think they do, then first, please take a close look at the autopsy report. Can you still say the same thing after reading it?
According to the autopsy report, the stab wounds to the left chest caused the fatality.
Correct. The autopsy report itself is the foundation of my reasoning.
In other words, I just have to shatter that foundation, right?
I don't find that amusing at all. I look forward to seeing you try. Nevertheless, please take a close look at the autopsy report before you make a rebuttal. Show me that your reasoning is not just mere conjecture.
Very well.
Mr. Edgeworth?
We'll be fine, Kay. There's nothing for you to worry about. Evidence that the victim was alive after the incident. If I can just find that, Kay will be... So, looking at the autopsy report... The head wound was post-mortem. It's interesting. Well, I want to ask... The victim was stabbed. Why is the coat immaculate? There's no holes in the coat. Yet apparently the victim was wearing it at the time, so... what gives? Do we use the coat here? I feel like it's the coat. Yes! Nailed it. Phew. It's kind of a Hail Mary. Chairman DeBest, do you know what this is? It seems to be a red raincoat. How about it, Courtney?
The victim, Miss Crane, was wearing this earlier. Prosecutor Edgeworth, must I repeat my explanation to you all over again?
I suppose it just might come to that. Judge Courtney, answer me this. This red raincoat was stained with blood. Do you happen to remember where specifically those bloodstains were located?
Of course I do. They were on the hood. Wait, it can't be.
What does this mean? Judge Courtney, were there any other bloodstains besides the ones on the hood?
None were detected.
Don't you think it's strange? The victim died from a stab wound to the chest. In that case, there should have been bloodstains on the front of the raincoat. However, the only blood they found was on the hood. This is a huge contradiction. The wound on the victim's head is no ordinary wound. After all, the victim sustained this wound before she was stabbed in the chest.
It does appear that way, doesn't it? The victim first suffered the head wound.
But the autopsy report said that it's post-mortem.
If she had already been stabbed in the chest, the raincoat would have been stained with blood. Therefore, it is unthinkable that her chest was stabbed before she suffered the head wound. So the order of the wounds would be first the head, followed by the chest. However, does that really change the situation?
With this, a contradiction is born, one that overturns all of our assumptions up until now.
Is the change really that great? I look forward to hearing it. Well then, this contradiction, why don't you show it to me? With evidence.
Which piece of evidence shows the contradiction that arises from the order of the wounds? This is the autopsy report written by Dr. Yun. According to this, the head wound was post-mortem.
But that's not what the raincoat shows.
Exactly, it's the exact opposite.
Bailiff, hurry and summon Dr. Bonnie Yun at once. Until we hear what she has to say, we cannot close the curtains on this case.
Yes, ma'am, understood.
Dr. Yun is a busy person. It will take some time for her to arrive. In the meantime, let us try viewing this case from another angle. There's something that's been on my mind. One of the key figures in this case. The conductor. We still don't know who that person is.
Now that you mention it, even after our investigation, we still have no idea who it is.
The conductor has come up time and time again during this hearing. However, at this point in time, their identity remains a mystery. How about it? Do you have any ideas?
I'm still not sure at the moment. However, there is someone I have in mind. A certain individual involved with this case who might know something about it.
Who's that?
Blaze the Best, I demand your testimony.
What?
Don't say such a stupid thing. Why would you suspect Pops?
Are you trying to cast suspicion towards the chairman of the PIC? Do you understand what that means?
Status and prestige mean nothing before the truth. That man is trying to pin the crime on Kay. The evidence that was in Kay's possession, the ticket stub, the mask, the corsage, these items did not come into possession out of her own volition. By some method, that man purposely planted them on her personage.
It is hard to believe such a sudden accusation, but I'll ask just in case. Why would he do that?
Obviously, to direct suspicion towards Kay. I succeeded in drawing out those words from him earlier.
Mr. Chairman, your response?
Are you too shocked to speak? And what of it? Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said, what of it? You say that you drew out some words from me, but you don't have a shred of proof, you know. No one else heard it but you. It just doesn't work like that, you see. Or do you have something else, you know, some kind of basis for your argument? This confidence, he also showed it at the cell.
Prosecutor Edgeworth, I would like you to explain once more. I trust we have your permission, Mr. Chairman.
But of course, I'm pretty interested in this matter myself, you know. I'd like to know just what part of me seems criminal to Mr. Edgeworth. There's no one as honest as I am, you see. How can he say that with a straight face? Let's start from the top. The fact that the auction was held in this room is a cause for suspicion. This is the PIC meeting room. I imagine it would be difficult for non-members to enter. That's why all the members have key cards, you know. I think we can assume that multiple auctions may have been held here before. Therefore, suspecting a member of the PIC would be the best. Yes, Because the conductor had to have been a PIC member. Well, the PIC just recently moved in here. Oh wait, no! What? What was that all about? What do I do, Pops? I just helped the enemy. Sebastian really is an idiot, you know. But you see, Edgeworth, I'm not the only one with access, you know.
Indeed, there are 11 members in the PIC. Even if we rule out the victim, Miss Crane, there are still 10 potential suspects.
It's not me. But it couldn't be the chairman, right?
I don't know who it is, but whoever it is should just come forward.
Yes, everyone just calm down, you know. Edgeworth, is that all you've got? Where's the evidence to suspect me? Oh, so you've fallen silent. But you've gotten too far, you see. I won't forgive you anymore. It's just too late for regrets, you know. I'm a very important man, you see, former chief prosecutor and chairman of the PIC. It's fine if you're not prepared to face the fire, you know, 'cause you see... Either way, it won't make any difference. 'Cause I'm gonna bully you? You've been rambling on for quite a while about the most trivial details, you know? Like the location of the murder, the order of the wounds, and, what else was there? It just doesn't matter, you know? 'Cause, you see, none of that means anything, you know? Think about it. We've got the suspect herself saying she killed the victim. That's all that matters, you see. She'll even get a lighter sentence with her confession, you know? Now then, if there are any contradictions, be my guest. How can that be considered testimony? There must be a contradiction somewhere.
That person, he's very important, isn't he? Mr. Edgeworth, it's alright. Let's just give up. Surely I must have killed her. I can even remember it.
Don't be tied down by your muddled memories. If you want to believe in something, believe in your own innocence. Believe in me, who believes in you. Alright, calm down, Kamina.
But
my opponent is the PIC chairman. Taking him down won't be easy. However, he has underestimated me. If I can take advantage of that. You've been rambling on for quite a while about the most trivial details, you know. If these trivial details create contradictions in the case, we cannot call it the truth. It's fine as long as the rest of the case makes sense, you know. Every case is going to have a small contradiction or two, you see. But if we get bogged down by the details, we won't be able to arrest the criminal. Trials would go on forever, you see. You, of all people, should understand, you know. I don't. That's why I'm asking you. Ah, young folks these days. Anyways, you are rambling on about stuff. Like the location of the murder, the order of the wounds, and, what else was there? The autopsy report and the questions about the conductor. Were you even listening? Talk is cheap, you know. I was listening, you see, but I didn't think much of it, you know. You didn't think much of it even after I brought up all those issues. Perhaps your judgment needs to be questioned rather than my ability as a prosecutor. That's a good one, Edgeworth. But, you see, it just doesn't matter, you know, because, you see, none of that means anything, you know. How can you say it doesn't matter? Are you trying to suppress the truth? Well, you see, it simply doesn't matter as much as you say it does, you know. You see, Edgeworth, you're only saying it matters to avoid the real issue here. Think about it, we've got the suspect herself saying she killed the victim. It may be true she confessed, however, that does not make it the truth. She is suffering from memory loss, so we must question the credibility of her testimony.
Objection!
Jesus Christ! Whoa! I think that's the first time we're hearing his voice. Ugh. Sounds like some sort of Disney villain. Even if you say that, you know, it still won't solve anything. What good will it do to deny her confession? Sounds like nonsense to me. Wanna try asking her again? I think she'll just say that she's the murderer again, though. Very well. Let's try asking her again one last time. I'd like to hear from Kay herself, whether or not she is the culprit. Huh? From me? Will that be alright? If this goes poorly, it'll be quite unfavorable for you. I do not mind, however, I shall ask Kay the question myself. I'm moved to tears, you know. Oh, how touching, you know. How very touching. Fine then, I'll let you ask her. However, I have one condition. If all this proves to be a waste of time, then that will be the end of it. How's that sound? The end of the hearing? Yes, it seems you can be smart once in a while, Sebastian. In other words, you see, if she confesses again, Kay Faraday will be found beyond a shadow of a doubt guilty. Yep, it's a fine idea. Guilty, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, that's right. That's harsh. But either way, if I do nothing, she'll be declared guilty. Kay. Yes. I know what I'm asking of you is unreasonable, but please, I want you to answer me. It doesn't matter how tiny it is. Do you remember anything? Anything that would prove your innocence? Why? Why would you go that far for me? I can't do it. I'm sorry. I'm too scared to remember. Because I might have done something even worse. If that were the case, I would only make things worse for you, Mr. Edgeworth. Kay Faraday must have been a despicable criminal. Someone who betrayed your trust. Don't worry. We've only known each other for a short while, but I know you very well. I'd even say that I know you better than yourself now that you've lost your memories. Oh. You cannot possibly be the culprit because your true identity is the Yatagarasu.
Take that!
The great thief Yatagarasu. Yatagarasu is a noble thief who would never stoop to murder. No, it's useless. After all, no matter what, that memory still remains. This image that's stuck in my head, I just can't get rid of it. That means I must have...
Hold it!
There's no clear evidence to prove that you're the culprit, besides your own confession. Remember what I said. You must believe in yourself. Or perhaps you cannot trust my words.
No, that's not it. It's because you are trying to save someone like me. You've already lost so much, all for my sake. I can't bear it anymore. Please, please, just give up.
I see now. I thought it was strange. The reason you were acting like you wanted to be found guilty was because you were concerned about me. That is just like you, Kay.
It's because you're a good person, Mr. Edgeworth.
Unfortunately, I may fall short of your expectations. I am not trying to be a good person. No matter how much you may want to give up, I'll keep trying to save you. That is the nature of who I am. Whether or not it is a burden for you is none of my concern. Kay, believe in yourself once more. You are a noble, great thief. What you should be doubting is your memory of committing the murder. That is my wish above all else. Please. Kay.
What is it? Did you remember something?
If she remembers something now, it'd be like a bad movie.
Bull.
What? Bull?
Prosecutor Edgeworth, please ask her to clarify.
Well, Kay, what do you mean by bull?
I remember now. The person in the red raincoat had that with her. The stuffed bull doll. I'm certain of it.
Well, that's the burn mark. So hello.
Is that true, defendant? Yes, Your Honor. The court hereby accepts the defendant's statement as a new piece of testimony.
Objection.
Quit messing around, Courtney. A testimony like that cannot be accepted, you know.
Your objection has been noted, sir. However, testimony about the victim's belongings
Has been lacking up until now.
Objection.
Seriously, what the hell is that? It sounds awful. Nevertheless, you know, her vague memories cannot be trusted, you know.
Her memories are vague. That would be bad for us as well. Didn't you say this earlier yourself, Mr. Chairman? Since we have the suspect's confession, we don't need to worry about the trivial details. If we decide to doubt her memories, then we must also doubt her confession, which is the main foundation of our case. Are you willing to do that, sir?
You're right. Well, never mind then, I shall leave it to you.
Thank you very much.
We did it. It was touch and go for a while there, though. However, those words of Judge Courtney just now, it almost feels as if she is on our side.
Prosecutor Edgeworth, do you know anything about this stuffed animal?
The stuffed animal Kay spoke of must have been this. We found it in the storeroom. It is believed to be one of the items for the auction.
This is...
Do you know something about it, Justine?
No, it's just a bit different from what I imagined.
Indeed, it's certainly not what I would have expected the victim to be carrying. Let's examine every suspicious-looking nook and cranny. Well, there's a hole for the horn. A singular splotch of white on top of the hair? Interesting. Let's look at the hole first. The left horn is missing. There is a hole in this stuffed animal. It seems this hole is where the horn is inserted into. I guess its head isn't stuffed with cotton. I wonder what's inside. Perhaps I should examine the other side. Let's look at this. A cherry blossom petal a sakura petal is stuck in its soft fur. Speaking of which, there were also some stuck on the red raincoat. A sakura? Wasn't there one blooming on the viewing platform? Yes, it seems safe to assume this was taken outside. However, why would the victim be carrying something like this? The right horn seems to be fine, but the entire balance feels a bit off. This horn, it looks like you can move it. What? Uh-huh. What was that buzzing sound? It seems the toy is equipped with a recording device. Yo! Audio. I knew who you were right away. You can't hide that burn from me. Silence, huh? I've been waiting for my chance to get revenge all this time. Is this the moment of the murder? Who could have recorded something like this? This is... There ain't no doubt about it. This here was what I heard. We cannot verify when these voices were recorded. It's also possible that they aren't related to the case at all. If only we had some video as well. That's hogwash. I'm telling you, that right there was the conversation that I heard. The victim was holding on to it, right? I reckon it must have been recorded when she got attacked. That certainly is a possibility. However, your testimony alone is insufficient. I require something with a little more credibility. Again, her words. It almost sounds as if she's trying to give me advice. Judge Courtney, there is no mistake that those voices were from the incident. Please recall the audio that was recorded by the stuffed animal. Oh, I know how. Just use the masks. I knew who you were right away. You can't hide that burn from me. If we compare this part of the recording with a certain piece of evidence, we can prove it. This evidence shows that the recording took place during the moment of the crime. The autopsy report again, right? Yeah, it says the, burn marks here. The autopsy report? And exactly what part of the autopsy report shows that? This part shows that the recording took place during the moment of the crime. Burn. I remember clearly what that voice said. You can't hide that burn from me. On the victim's hand, there was a burn mark. Indeed, it just happened to match up, you see, but what of it? According to Kay's testimony, the victim had been holding the stuffed animal, and it just happened to record a characteristic of the victim, namely the burn. That's just a coincidence. I mean, it could happen, right? I do not think so.
It is hard to believe that all of this is simply a coincidence. The voices on the stuffed animal were most likely recorded during the incident.
One of these voices must belong to the true culprit. From what we've heard, it must have been the one who was doing most of the talking. But what's the point? In the end, we still can't tell their gender or identity, you know. Indeed, because they had been using the voice changers. It can't be helped.
It seems the situation has become quite clear. The conversation Miss Hart overheard was between the culprit and Miss Crane. That's what I've been telling you from the start.
And from this, we will understand a new fact.
Please enlighten us then. I trust you have no objections, Mr. Chairman?
Do what you want.
According to Miss Hart's testimony, just before the incident, 2 people came up from the auction hall using the lift. It must have been the conductor and one of the auction guests. They probably went there to settle the payment after winning a bid. And then it was there that the crime was carried out, since the auction continued after the crime took place. We are led to a single truth. This is the new fact that we have arrived at. The culprit is the conductor. Since the conductor was the only one who could keep the auction going, we can conclude that the deceased victim could not have been the conductor. Justine? Please be quiet here, okay?
If the conductor was not the victim, then they must have been the culprit.
Please wait. That alone is insufficient.
Of course. Even I do not intend to rely only upon the process of elimination. Certain traces left at the crime scene led me to believe that the culprit is the conductor.
Well then, please show it to us.
What were the traces left at the crime scene that let me deduce the culprit is the conductor? Traces of blood, I would assume. Only the conductor would have the key to this evidence?
Take that!
This is a... The culprit was the conductor. They would have wanted to hide something. We just have to present that. Their own clothes? Oh.
Take that!
No, oh. What the hell? Is it the blood on the hidden lift now? I mean... Actually, the red raincoat was found later. Maybe they tried to dispose of the coat.
Take that!
God damn it. Ugh. You know what? This video is at its limit, so I'm just gonna go ahead and look up the guide right now. The meeting room blood. Okay.
Take that!
The culprit purposely left a large amount of blood in the meeting room. In doing so, we were led to believe the meeting room had been the scene of the crime. That's when they created, not hid. It was a ruse by the true culprit to hide the blood that had fallen from the storeroom. So we wouldn't find out about the existence of the black market auction, correct? Indeed. If the culprit had been unrelated to the auction, there would have been no need to do such a thing. Ergo, the culprit could have only been the conductor.
Well then, do you have any idea as to who the conductor might possibly be?
The auction hall is at the PIC meeting room, and furthermore, there is a storeroom above it. The conductor must have been, at the very least, a member of the PIC. So, in other words, you suspect me, I take it. Isn't it natural to suspect you, the one with the most authority in the PIC?
Objection.
You are quite capable, I'll give you that much at least. But you know, like I said before, you're far too naive. You have nothing, you know. There's no evidence that proves I am the culprit, you see. If by some chance you do have evidence, then why don't you present it? Irk. Do I have evidence that Blaze is the culprit? I don't think I have it, no. I mean, if I did, this would end right here, right now. No, I don't have it. Blaze himself has suggested that he is the criminal. He's been showing that strange self-confidence for a while now. He knows that there is not a single piece of evidence left behind to incriminate him. If you play with fire, you're gonna get burned, Edgeworth. Just kidding, I always wanted to say that, you know. Well then, Courtney.
I reckon I just remembered something too.
Bois, you also lost your memories?
Nah, that ain't it. Something just popped into my head right now.
Man, bois is such an underrated word. Or expression.
Very well. Please tell us.
Objection.
Courtney, could you tell me what you are doing?
Prosecutor Edgeworth will not give up until we have destroyed every last possibility. I am destroying every possibility, so that he will never oppose us again.
Very well said. Justine, I don't really know what's going on, but well said. Wow. Pops, I'm going to help too. After all, he's the one who's wrong. Fine then, let's hear what she has to say.
Well then, Miss Hart, please proceed. Sure thing, just leave it to me.
Please make sure you only tell the truth.
Ain't that a matter of course? I'm a bona fide journalist of justice, you know.
Somehow, I feel uneasy.
Y'all saying the culprit was the conductor, right? That means the victim was a customer. Now, here's where it gets a mite strange. You see, there were 11 people at the auction. When the auction continued after the incident, I went straight on over and snuck a peek down below.
You don't mean?
That's exactly what I mean. All 11 people were still there, present and accounted for.
What? Oh, that's weird.
Are you sure about that? Sure, I'm sure. I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
So it started with 11 people, and there were still 11 people after the murder. Was it a ghost? You know, Sebastian, normally a prosecutor would call that a contradiction, you know. Were there really no changes in the auction at all?
Really, I'm telling ya, the auction just went on like normal. But there was one itty-bitty thing, though.
What was it?
You know those hammers that you always see at an auction? Like the one that lady's using over there? An auction gavel, perhaps. Yep, that's the one.
Okay, the judge did it.
All of a sudden, I couldn't hear the sound no more. It had been banging away just prior to it.
The sound of the gavel. Does that have anything to do with the case? Interesting.
If Miss Hart's testimony is the truth, then this matter has taken a grave turn. If the victim was neither the conductor nor a customer, the very foundation of Prosecutor Edgeworth's reasoning would collapse.
Justice prevails, as they say. I hope you've learned your lesson, Mr. Edgeworth.
Mr. Edgeworth, there really is nothing we can do.
It's not over yet. Some mysteries still remain. I have to think. If I don't, then Kay will be. Did you get the answer you wanted this time? Well then, the deal's a deal.
Please wait, Mr. Chairman. I believe it is still too early to make judgment. There are still a few mysteries left in this case. Until we have solved them all, we cannot call this a complete victory. Isn't that right, Prosecutor Edgeworth? I was expecting you to shout, "Hold it," like you always do.
Yes, of course. Once again, Judge Courtney has come to my aid. Well then, what is it? What sort of mysteries are left?
Well, of course, there's the contradiction in the autopsy report.
That kind of thing?
I've brought her in. What's wrong? Why were we suddenly called here? Did someone suddenly get sick? I'll begin preparing a compress. Stab. Ouch!
Isn't a compress, like, not for colds? Well, I think this is as good a time as any to end the video. Yeah, I went a little overboard, but that's okay because this is a more natural ending. I am baffled. More people showed up to the auction. Or, well, look, I have to imagine that if Lada looked through the crack in the elevator, between the elevator and the wall, surely her view of the room would be extremely limited. Right? So maybe there were way more than 11 people. And it just so happens that the victim who won the auction just couldn't be seen from her point of view. But the sound of the gavel went away. Maybe there were multiple conductors, and when the victim won the thing and they went up the lift together, someone new stepped up to take the place, but the first conductor took the gavel with them? Interesting. Well, I will say that I do like that Justine Courtney is rooting for Edgeworth. Like, don't get me wrong, she's still playing a very antagonistic role in her phrasing to hide her intentions, but yeah, she is giving Edgeworth a lot of extra chances, so good on you, Courtney. Like, the whole game, she's been so shady. It seems like she's been trying to cover things up, but Here, no, she's actually trying to find the truth. It's quite the change in her. And I do like that. But yeah, boy, when it comes to this refill audience of auction goers, the gavel, I don't have anything. So weird. Well, maybe next time we'll find out that Blaze had Bonnie Yun fake the autopsy report. Maybe. I don't know. Something's weird, man. Something's weird. Meantime, I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more Ace Attorney Investigations 2. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care.